Forget leather and loyalty. Today's outlaw bikies are encrypted, armed and dressed in Gucci. This is the new face of Australia's biker underworld. Welcome to the OMG, Outlaw Motorcycle Gangs of Australia, and Episode 4, The Nike Bikie. Once it was all about the ride, loyalty, brotherhood, the patch. But as the money grew, so did the ambition. Old school leaders clashed with younger, profit-driven members. Clubs fractured, factions formed, and the brotherhood, well, it started to break. Of course, not all clubs and not all bikers, but for the purpose of this episode, we will focus in on these particular ones. Bikie 2.0, power, paranoia, and the digital reboot. Meet the Nike Bikie. Designer clothes, gold chains, no Harley in sight. These new recruits are younger, flashier, and more violent. They're not in for the ride. They're in for the revenue. And some don't even own a motorcycle. First coined around 2007, the label was initially associated with the gang Notorious. It took members from youth gangs like the Fairfield Boys and the Assyrian Kings. They were dubbed Nike Bikies because the members wore white sneakers, fashionable t-shirts and expensive jeans instead of the traditional get-up boots, dirty vests and bushy beards. From nomads to notorious. Sam Ibrahim was a member of the Nomads Motorcycle Club in the 90s, being handed presidency in 1997. But due to tensions within the club, the chapter disbanded in 2006. Some members of the old chapter decided it was time to start a new club. In 2007, Notorious was born, founded by Sarkis, along with David Lima, but widely believed to be driven by Ibrahim's influence. While Sarkis was named president, Ibrahim's connection and reputation gave the gang its momentum. And we will look into the Ibrahims at a later stage. Unlike traditional clubs, many members didn't ride motorbikes. This led to criticism from established motorcycle clubs who dismissed Notorious as a street gang masquerading as a bikie club. Their emblem featured a skull in a turban with twin pistols and the motto, "Only the dead see the end of war," a stark mythic declaration of perpetual conflict. These bikies were often Middle Eastern migrants who fused Western Sydney street fashion with outlaw biker culture, creating a uniquely Australian subcultural identity. Notorious was linked to drug trafficking, extortion, drive-by shootings and bombings, and gained further infamy in Sydney's criminal underworld with a series of brazen attacks on more established outlaw motorcycle outfits, often clashing violently with rivals like the Comancheros, the Bandidos and Hells Angels. They were suspected of firebombing the Hells Angels clubhouse in Petersham in 2009 and wrestled with the likes of the Comancheros and the Rebels for lucrative drug turf, particularly in King's Cross. Their rise coincided with a spike in public shootouts and retaliatory attacks, drawing intense media and police scrutiny. They weren't required to own or ride motorcycles. Really, their sole reason for joining was to link themselves to facilitate their criminal activities. The New South Wales Police launched Strike Force Raptor, which ultimately dismantled the gang's leadership by 2012, declaring the club defunct. The Nike Bikie identity didn't vanish with the fall of Notorious, but it's definitely evolved and in some ways faded into the shadows. Still around, but less visible. The fashion-forward outlaw aesthetic, designer clothes like Nike TNs, gold chains, still exists in some corners of Australia's bikie scene, especially among younger recruits. Clubs like the Comancheros, Mongols and Finks have members who embrace the look, blending streetwear with outlaw bravado. Style over steel. Unlike traditional bikers, who were drawn to the freedom and the open road, Nike bikies were more image-driven, often prioritising status, social media presence, and material wealth over motorcycle culture. Their rise coincided with a broader mainstreaming of outlaw aesthetics fueled by shows like Sons of Anarchy and the glamorization of gang life. Tensions within the clubs. This new breed caused friction with older members who viewed them as plastic gangsters, more interested in Instagram followers than club loyalty or riding. The divide wasn't just stylistic. Younger recruits were often more aggressive and profit-driven, leading to increased public violence and scrutiny from law enforcement. Symbolism and identity. The Nike Bikie image became a symbol of rebellion and migrant aspiration, blending high fashion with outlaw grit. It reflected a deeper tension between cultural identity, generational change, and the search for belonging in a society that often marginalises outsiders. Digital swagger and online presence. Nike Bikies embraced social media as a tool for status, recruitment, and intimidation. Platforms like Facebook and Instagram became showcases for their fashion, wealth, and gang affiliations. Unlike traditional bikers who operated in the shadows, this new wave often curated their image online, flaunting designer gear, luxury cars, and club symbolism. Their digital presence helped blur the line between outlaw and influencer, turning gang culture into something aspirational for some urban youth. This mainstreaming of bikie aesthetics fed into the digital persona. Some members even appeared in music videos or online interviews, further mythologizing their image and spreading their influence beyond the streets. Symbolic shift. The digital savvy approach reflected a deeper generational and cultural divide. These bikies weren't just rebels, they were brand builders, using digital tools to craft a new kind of outlaw identity. Their online presence also made them easier targets for law enforcement, which eventually contributed to their downfall, as surveillance and digital tracing became more sophisticated. What changed? Flat laws and anti-association crackdowns in Queensland and New South Wales made it harder for clubs to operate openly, especially those flaunting their image. The mainstreaming of outlaw fashion, thanks to the shows like Son of Anarchy and Instagram, blurred these lines between real bikies and imitators, diluting the subculture's impact. Many original Nike bikies either retreated from public view, joined other clubs, or left the scene entirely as law enforcement pressure intensified. The Nike Bikie remains a symbol of rebellion, identity, and a generational tension, a flashpoint between old school loyalty and new school swagger. While the term isn't as widely used today, its influence lingers with the visual language of modern outlaw clubs, especially in urban Australia. The Nike Bikie phenomenon didn't just shake up fashion in the outlaw scene, it nudged other clubs towards a more digitally conscious identity, especially in how they presented themselves and recruited. Influence on digital presence. The Nike Bikies were among the first to embrace social media as a tool for status, intimidation, and myth-making. Their curated online personas, designer gear, club symbolism, and luxury set a new standard for visibility. Other clubs, especially those in urban areas like the Comancheros and Mongols, began to adopt similar digital strategies, using platforms like Instagram and Facebook to showcase power, unity, and lifestyle. This shift marked a departure from secrecy toward controlled exposure, where clubs could shape their image while still maintaining mystique. Cultural ripple effect. The digital swagger of the Nike Bikies helped normalise online branding with outlaw circles. Even traditional clubs started posting ride videos, patch ceremonies, and club events, all but more cautiously. Some clubs began recruiting through encrypted apps or private social media groups, a tactic that mirrored the Nike Bikies' blend of street culture and tech-savvy outreach. The Nike Bikies' digital footprint became a template for modern outlaw identity, one that fused rebellion with visibility. Their influence also sparked law enforcement adaptations, with Strike Force Raptor and other units monitoring online activity more aggressively, leading clubs to rethink their digital strategies. The battlefield has moved online. Encrypted apps like Signal and Wicker, burner phones, VPNs, dark web drug deals, crypto payments. Police now target servers and SIM cards as much as clubhouses. The outlaw world has gone digital and it's harder to trace than ever. Burner phones and VPNs are used to mark identities and locations, making surveillance far more difficult. These tools allow members to operate across borders without ever meeting in person. Dark web marketplaces have become hubs for drug trafficking, weapon deals and forged documents. Transactions are often conducted using privacy coins like Monero or Zcash, which are nearly impossible to trace. Crypto payments, especially through decentralized exchanges and peer-to-peer platforms, allow bikies to move money without banks, using tumblers and mixers to launder funds. Symbolic shift in power. The old-school image of patched members riding in formation has given way to digital avatars, ghost accounts and crypto wallets. Power is now measured not just in muscle or territory, but in network reach and encryption fluency. Law enforcement has responded with Strike Force Raptor, Operation Morpheus and international stings targeting encrypted platforms like Anom and Ghost. But the arms race continues. As soon as one app is cracked, another emerges. Operation Ironside, the Trojan Horse Sting. In a landmark sting, the Australian Federal Police and FBI created Anom, a fake encrypted app the criminals adopted widely, unknowingly giving law enforcement access to 25 million messages. The sting led to over 300 arrests, with nearly 100 Bikie members and associates charged, including high-ranking figures from the Comancheros, Rebels, Mongols and Lone Wolf gangs. Digital tools in real-world violence. A 2020 execution-style murder of Mongols member Shane Bowden was allegedly organised using encrypted phones and GPS tracking apps. Law enforcement now routinely monitor crypto transactions, burner phones and VPN activity to trace bikie operations. The new battlefield. The digital frontier has become a strategic domain for bikie gangs, not just for secrecy, but for power projection, reputation warfare and financial control. Law enforcement has responded with Operation Kraken, targeting platforms like Ghost, which was allegedly built by an Australian mastermind for criminal use. There you go. The digital shift has consequences. More violence, less loyalty. Internal hits, public shootings. The clubs are harder to control. And the brotherhood? It's starting to look more like a network of digital mercenaries. From Chrome to code, the outlaw biker world is changing fast, and the next war, it might not be fought on the streets, but on the screens. Just a little side note. We aren't for everyone, and we understand this, so we will continue to do what we do, how we do it. We thank our loyal returners and new subscribers, and always encourage, if you enjoyed the episode, to hit like and subscribe if you haven't already. Stay tuned for episode 5, Turf Wars and Takeovers, how bikies are rewriting Australia's crime map.